fall under. They're never really even engaged. What? NPC stuff ever. Yeah. Is that real? Yeah. This is everybody. The other people. Ruby said she wasn't gonna make it. She said she was. She said she couldn't make it to her neighbor girlfriend yesterday. Oh yeah. And then the other two people said they weren't here. That's what. Yeah, I see you there. Right. I'm just going to show I am. Okay. Hello everybody. My name is Jeremiah Jett, and I am the host. You want to put that on table 5? You can go ahead and start. I'll wait. Put mine on there. Hey, you got another one? I think I have it on my bag. It's okay. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremiah Jett. I am a senior at the Point College Prep and Leadership Academy, a school in Jamestown. But I am here today because I host a podcast called Youthful Conversations. So for season 1, we had achieved over 40,000 views, and we also won Best Podcast in the Tri-Area. And for season 2, we are partnering with Guilford County Schools to host our podcast live in a variety of different schools. So we held our first podcast at Andrews High School, and we had 162,000 views for our first episode, and now we're here for episode 2 at Southwest High School. I know a good bit of you don't know me. I don't know a bunch of y'all in here, but I hope you guys would indulge me with this conversation. In the audience, you guys can add stuff to the conversation. So if you have anything you want to say, you have questions, feel free to engage in the conversations. I'm not just here to have the people on the panel talk. This is just basically a platform where all young people can share their voices, talk about a variety of different topics, and we're just going to share our voices. Useful Conversation was started because young people never have a platform to talk about the things that are important to them. And then when we do have a platform where we can talk about the things that are important to us, it's usually shut down. So today I'm here with the Student Advisory Group with Walter and Andrew Bowe. And then we have City Councilman Hugh Holstein here on the panel as the adult. So I'm going to start the conversation. I have a few questions that I have gotten from you guys, from the Student Advisory Group, and we are going to get started.
While we're getting ready, as Jeremiah said, this is an interactive session, but I do want to give Jeremiah his flowers. Now, he mentioned that those two numbers that he reached, 43,000 views in one and 150,000 views in another. I think he deserves a round of applause.
All right, so our first question falls under the category of personal growth and success. So we'll go down the panel. Everyone can share their opinion. And then, of course, you guys in the audience have the opportunity to say things. If you feel like you want to, we'll give you a mic and you can share your thoughts as well. How can students balance academic responsibilities with their personal lives without being overwhelmed?
Well, I'm really overwhelmed with the stuff I do. I do a lot of stuff outside of school, but how I balance it is like I cut things that I want to have fun with. I cut those activities and I focus on my schoolwork before I start doing some stuff I enjoy.
For me, at school, it can be a lot emotionally, and trying to balance it, with other stuff you're doing, it can be difficult. But sometimes almost having more stuff on your plate gives you that motivation to keep pushing, because, if you continue doing well in school, you can keep doing those things. So in a way, it almost balances itself out.
I'm probably going to be a little bit different than y'all. Y'all two answers. I know for most students, it's not common for us to do our work first. It's like push it off for the last minute and then do the stuff we want to do first. I do a lot outside of just podcasting. So I work with the city of Greensboro, work with a variety of different organizations, and do a lot of different stuff. I know a lot of people get mad at me because I do this, but I'm in college, so I'll wait till my deadline for my work, and I'll be like, I'll do it then. So like if it's due on Sunday at 11:59, I'll do it Sundays at 8 o'clock instead of doing it like throughout the week. So my way of balancing it, and I'll like push it off till like the very last minute, which isn't the greatest. I'm not gonna advise you to do it. It's not very smart. But the way I found for success for myself at least is to wait for a good time for me to do it so I don't procrastinate and then I get it done myself.
Good answer. Yeah, I see this question as kind of the answer to the question of, or you heard the term work-life balance. I hear school-life balance in this question. And, you know, we're all human. I know you're students, I know you have tests, exams, papers, all those things, but you also have a life. You have a life outside of what you're doing here. And I think it's important that you understand that people are going to find things and find time for the things that you want to do. And it's important that you do that. But it's also important at the same time to create that balance is to find a schedule that works for you. From my perspective, don't try to eliminate all the fun things. You schedule them. You work hard or you study hard from X to Y, and then the rest of that time is yours. But make sure you take that time to study hard. When I was in college, some people did it just the opposite. They would play hard, and then they would study. But you hear in both of those answers, they still made time to study. And a lot of times you'll find out that your fun time is more enjoyable when you've handled your business already. You know, I did that. I've done that. I've taken care of that. And now I can really have fun as opposed to not studying, not working. You get out there, you're having fun, but all the while you're thinking, I didn't study for that test, or I haven't written that paper, or I haven't prepared myself for X, Y, and Z. For me, it's a matter of scheduling and balancing your time so that you can enjoy both of those and not fear the work or the study part.
That's important. All right, my next question. In a world that constantly tells young people they need to be more, smarter, richer, prettier, whatever, how can someone develop self-love without falling into the trap of seeking validation?
Well, it's a lot of trial and error on doing the things that you want to like figure out what you like to do, things rather than like experience. It's basically experiencing things that you want to do, and if you enjoy them, pursue that dream.
Repeat the question. In a world that constantly tells young people they need to be more, smarter, richer, prettier, whatever, how can someone develop self-love without falling into the trap of seeking validation?
I mean, I feel like self-love, the whole point of it is that you don't need validation to see your own self-worth. I mean, I love myself. And, there's definitely people who I care about who, I will use their opinion to judge where I am in life, but I know who I am. I appreciate who I am. And to me, that's where that love comes in. Over that validation really doesn't affect my opinion on myself.
My answer is I'm a big Christ believer. So if you believe in God, he tells you that you find your value and your worth in him. And when you are created, God knows the person that you're meant to be, the things you're going to achieve. And he already knows the person you're going to be. So once you believe in God and you find the love that God gives you, then there's really no kind of outside opinions or outside anything that can really affect what happens, what people say about you, how people view you, anything. And that really helped me because in middle school, I was very self-conscious. So like I would always wear hoodies. I wouldn't speak. I wouldn't talk to people. I was always at the back of the class, never in front of the class. I just didn't want to be seen. So I would always have a hood on just so you didn't bother me. But once I started to grow my relationship with God and I started to realize who I am, the things he wants me to do, the person he called me to be, it became easier and it became more apparent that I am much more than I'm playing myself out to be. So once you realize that the self-love and the self-worth that you get about yourself doesn't come from other people, but it comes from you, and then it comes from God, most importantly, I believe that this question goes out the window. And the worldly standard of you should be more goes way out the window.
Wow. The mic drop. I have to say something. Wow. The whole self-love thing, the whole, we have to be more of this and more of that. What it really comes down to is that, those folks who are saying that want you to be like them, want you to be like the crowd. I take the opposite tack. I think you should be more of you. The unique you. If you think about it, all the things, think of fashion sense, for instance. What is the new fad coming out? Is it something that has already been done? Or is it something that's new and different and unique? You look at the entertainment business. If there was a Boss Mandilo that came out 5 years ago, do you think Boss Mandilo would be big right now? It wouldn't be, because it'd be like somebody else. All the things that folks who are successful in life, it's because they become themselves. Maybe we don't see themselves because they're wearing a hoodie, but they just become more themselves. And so I just encourage you, don't worry about somebody else's beauty or somebody else's riches or somebody else's travel. Half the stuff you see on, probably 85% of the stuff you see on social media is just folks just trying to impress somebody else. That's probably not really them. I just encourage you to be you, be happy, and be satisfied with where you are, and don't worry about the successes or the failures of someone else.
Now, as you can see on our panel, it's mainly dudes. It's 4 dudes up here just talking. Could I get a female's opinion on this question? Just one. You don't have to answer it long. Whatever you think about it. I just really want a female's opinion. I think it's very important. I'll repeat the question again. In a world that constantly tells young people they need to be more, smarter, richer, prettier, or more, however, how can someone develop self-love without falling into the trap of seeking validation? Can I just get one female, please? Not all at once, just one, please.
There's a brave soul here somewhere. Her hand moved.
Oh, which one? You're about to answer the question.
You need the question again?
Yeah.
In a world that constantly tells young people they need to be more, smarter, richer, prettier, or however, how can someone develop self-love without falling into the trap of seeking validation?
I feel like he really said what I was going to say, but I feel like you can build up self-love through your experiences and doing more things by yourself. Like, you don't always have to be around friends to have fun and experience life. That's really it.
Thank you. Okay, my next question. Comparison is a natural human instinct. How can we shift our mindsets to use it as motivation rather than self-destruction?
Well, you can compare yourself to like a role model for you to work yourself towards to being that person that you aspire to be. Repeat the question.
If comparison is a natural human instinct, how can we shift our mindsets to use it as motivation rather than self-destruction?
So I do track, and one of the main things that people say is run your own race, and I 1000% agree with that. I do more long distance, that really goes with it. But at the same time, when you're in a race, like I do the mile, and there's different packs going on, you need to find that pack that you can stick with and motivate yourself to get you to that next point, because you always can go faster than you think you can. And by following others in terms of idolizing, but following others for just that motivation to keep pushing, that can get you far in races and just in life. So yeah.
You want to go into thinking?
Yeah, as the young man said just here, oftentimes when you hear the term comparison, it's when you're idolizing somebody or you're jealous of someone. You compare yourself, your situation to what their situation is. You're thinking yours isn't quite as good as what theirs is, so it can lead to jealousy and sometimes can lead to depression. And this is another opportunity for you to look at that comparison and say, you know, Jeremiah is doing a tremendously crazy job, as opposed to being jealous that he's getting all these views and, you know, he's going to get all this social media credit and the like. Instead of that, maybe I should use that comparison to say, hey, this is someone that I can learn from. What is he doing and what did he do to get where he is, so I can then level up my game and do the same thing or maybe even more. Again, use comparison as a learning opportunity, a learning experience, not as an idolization or jealousy, which can lead to some heartbreak and depression potential.
I was thinking on it, and I had like a bunch of different answers. A bunch of different ways I wanted to answer this question. But the way I'm gonna go with is, I don't know if you've heard the quote that comparison is the thief of joy.
Mhm.
So if you think about it, the way you view stuff is going to affect how you view the world. So like if you look at someone else and you're like, dang, he's got all the money, he's got all the girls, he's got the house, he's got the cars, he's got the life I want. Dang, I ain't got nothing. I'm just sitting here in my house on the couch doing nothing. You just gonna sit there and just keep looking at his life. You're gonna be like, wow, I ain't doing nothing with my life. He got everything I want. Instead of doing that, you could be like, I wonder what it took for him to get to that position. Because he did not get there just by waking up one day and he got money. That's not how it worked. Now, in some rare cases, you may wake up and God forbid your parent may die and you inherit their money. That could happen. That very could happen. But most people that you look at today, they either worked for their money, they went out and got a job, they went out and chased their business, they went out and chased their dreams, and they took a risk on themselves. The way I view comparison and the way I avoid self-destruction is I view it as competition. Now, it's not a negative competition where I gotta be better than him, but it's a competition of he did this today, he was able to achieve that today, and I was able to do this today and able to achieve this today. How can I continuously compare myself to myself and better my effort than yesterday today? That is the way I do comparison. You should only be comparing against yourself because that's all you can control. You can't control some billionaire who's got a bunch of money. That's out of your reach, at least for now. But what you can do is be like, you know, yesterday, I'm going to do this extreme exaggeration. Yesterday, I got into 10 fights, which is crazy. But today, I'm going to get into 5 fights, which means I'm striving for progress, striving for better. 5 fights is still a lot of fights. Definitely no fights. Hopefully no fights eventually. But I made progress. I went down from 10 fights to 5 fights, which means I'm making progress, right? So I think this is not real, by the way. Okay, I see everybody like, this is not real. This is not real life for me. I do not be fighting, especially when it's too cold. I don't like fighting, but it's too cold. It's too cold. Like, if it's cold and you fighting, your face is bruising up, the punches hurt extra hard. Like, I'm not fighting. There's no need to fight. I'm not doing that. Not doing that. But the thing is, you can strive for progress. So use comparison to help yourself strive for progress, never for destruction. Always look at yourself. And yesterday, I don't journal. I hate journaling. But some people say journal it and journal your past day and be like, today I had got an 80 on my past test. And let's say sports, I made 10 points in the game yesterday. So how can you improve on that the next game or the next day? There's always a way. There's always two sides to everything. So if there's a positive side and a negative side. Use comparison as a positive and not as a negative. This will go ahead a little deep. But again, I get all my topics sourced from you guys, young people. I don't make my own topics. But I hope you guys are willing to hear me out. Okay, the start of the question is kind of crazy. Okay, how does the absence of Black fathers impact identity, confidence, and emotional resilience in young Black men and women? We'll just say fathers, okay? Well, how does the absence of a father affect a young man or young woman?
Well, that's his father. Like, something like this.
You may not have to say something I'll go first. Okay, me too. So I'm blessed. My father is in my life happily, and but I know not everyone is. I think the thing I've learned the most from my father is kind of just what it means to be a man, not just have muscles and all that, but just overall being able to take care of your family, being able to provide that that glue and be tough when times get tough. Showing that, I'm not saying women can't do that either, but I'm just saying as a man, it's especially expected of you to do that in those difficult times. And that's probably the biggest impact my father has had on me, just teaching me those lessons. So I can imagine, a child without that might not fully receive that. So, yeah.
I will speak from my experience. With me not having a full dad, like I have a stepfather, but not like my actual biological father. There's a very big difference between having your real father in your life 100% and then having a man who stepped up, right? But for me not having a stepfather the whole time, or even just a father figure at all the whole time, it made me very angry. It made me blame myself for like a lot of the issues I would go on, or like the stuff that would go on in the house. Like, let me bring up an example. Like if my mom and my brother were mad at each other, I'd be like, it's my fault, and it's probably my dad's fault too. And I sit in my room and blame my dad, myself, and just basically self-destruct. Because I'm like, my dad's not here. He's probably not here because of me. He's probably not here because of my brother or whoever, but he's just not here, right? So it would make me self-destruct and very angry. And I wouldn't express my emotions and I wouldn't talk about it because it's not something that you commonly talk about. You can't go up to another person commonly and be like, hey, you got a dad? I ain't got a dad. You're like, what the world? Why are you talking about dads? That's weird. So it's not something that is like commonly brought up and commonly discussed. But the way I found is like, if you have a good group of people, and you have a good foundation of friends, those friends will help you, they'll help you get over it. I didn't have a dad the whole time, but I had a good group of friends. And instead of my dad being there telling me, hey, this is stupid, you shouldn't do that, I had friends telling me that. So they'll sit there and they'll watch me and be like, hey, that's stupid, you shouldn't do that. That's not right. So I would say the way to overcompensate of possibly not having a father, I'm not going to judge and say you guys don't have dads because I don't know you all, but the way you could do it is have you a good solid group of friends that are going to step up and be willing to grow with you. Because when you're growing together, you're going to learn different things from each other. You're going to be able to avoid stuff that they went through. So like if your friend went through a tragic breakup and they tell you everything that went wrong in their relationship, now you can take that advice and be like, okay, my dad didn't tell me it. My mom didn't tell me it. Nobody told me this, but my friend told me this. How can I learn from his experience and then grow from that? So my answer would just have you a good, strong friend group that is willing to grow with you, learn with you, and basically be that family if you don't have it.
Thank you. And again, you went deep.
Yeah.
Can I presume that the premise of the question is that you do have your mother in your life?
Yeah, I do have my mother, but I know a lot of people, they don't have either. So it's kind of tough. But the most common thing in our world is the absence of fathers. So that was the major question.
Okay. I'll try to keep this short and sweet. How many of you all have ever seen pro wrestling, WWE? Have you seen the, what's it called, the tag team? When there's, there are 4 people, but there are only 2 in the ring. Well, I kind of look at having your mother and your father, or mother figure, father figure in your life as kind of being part of that tag team. As good as we are, and as good as you're going to be as parents, a couple of things. One, you may have one perspective to provide to your child. If you have the mother figure to provide that perspective, you're blessed if you can have also your father figure providing his perspective. May be a little different from what your mother is providing you, but it's still something that it's information, it's data, it's feelings, it's experiences that you can learn from. So that's one way of why it's important to have your father figure in your life. Secondly is sometimes you get tired. Sometimes you simply get tired in life and you don't have the energy. I mean, think about it. You're in school all day, you're at track practice, you're running a mile or 4 miles, I don't know what you're running in practice, and you get home and there's more work to do. It's a good thing to have a partner who's there to lift you up and also to take care of some of the things that is providing those experiences, providing that knowledge, providing other things when you're maybe not as able to. So it's just important for me, for those reasons, to have the mother figure and the father figure in your life for perspective and also for a little bit of help.
Can you repeat the question?
Right.
Make sure I understand.
How does the absence of fathers impact you and the resilience of young people and young men and women?
Well, the absence of a father, it can create a lot of rage in one person who lost their father to whose father abandoned them. So, and it creates like unnecessary rage for you that can sometimes lead you to a dark path and like a unfortunate future. So, like going off of what you said, a good friend group, someone that can anyone that can help support you during these times is something that you should have to try and avoid that path that could happen from you're just unnecessary. From hate towards your absent father.
Okay, my next question is: with so many young people relying on social media to connect, is face-to-face interactions becoming a lost skill? If so, what are the consequences of it?
Everything. You want to go there? I got you.
So you're saying face to face,
Yeah,
it being lost?
Yeah.
I'm definitely. there are definitely people out there who, you kind of tell not the best for talking, but at the same time, I think if you write, social media can open you up to almost anyone, and you can, find someone with the exact same interests you got, the exact same values you got in a matter of seconds. And I think that can be really useful. Really, it's just I'm not a big fan of that. I like face to face, but I get if you are on social media, I understand the perks of that. And I think it's just about finding that balance, making sure you have both face to face interactions and those online interactions. That I do have some online friends that I game with and stuff. So it's just about finding that balance.
Yeah, I think social media interactions it's a good way of a good stepping stone. If you're not comfortable with speaking to a large audience or talking face to face, it's a good stepping stone to talk to someone online first that you have shared interest with, and then you can go to the next step of talking with them face to face.
I'm kind of going to go into our next question, but answer the first question as well. I do believe that face-to-face interaction is becoming a lost skill. Let me bring if you look at a friend group of people, right? And let's say y'all all go hang out. Y'all go get something to eat. If you look at that friend group and they're out to eat, I could bet you, and I'm not a bet, I hate betting because I always lose my money. But I would bet on this, that if you look at a friend group of people, out to eat, at least 2 or 3 of them are on their phones, not talking to each other.
That's me. I ain't going to
And they're just sitting there looking at each other. They're like, not talking to, and they're sitting right there face to face, and they're looking at their phones. It's most definitely becoming a lost skill. I would say with me, I'm a public speaker. So I do public speaking and I talk to a lot of different people. But I also, in the same breath, have somewhat of a fear of rejection. So I don't like walking up to people because I'd be scared of what they're gonna say. Like, especially if I don't know you and I gotta walk up to you out of nowhere and be like, hey, what's your name? I don't know what you could be thinking. You like, what are you doing talking to me for? Run away from me. And you just looking at me, you might want to walk away from me. Like, I have a big fear of that. I don't like walking up to people. I don't like just talking to people that I don't know. I absolutely hate it. I'm trying to grow out of it because in the field that I am, it's important for me to have connections. But it's just the thing that scares me. I don't like walking to people that I don't know. With it becoming such a lost skill, it has become easier for you to get to know people that you don't know. Instead of you having to deal with the fear of rejection in person, which frankly hurts a lot more than rejection over the phone, it has become easier for you to get to know people. If you're meeting somebody new online and they're like, why are you texting me? I don't know you. That's something small out of the minor of your day that's like, okay, on to the next person. I don't care if they don't know me or not. But if it's in person, you're like, wow, that kind of hurt my ego. That kind of hurt. I don't know how I'm going to live with that. So it made it very easier because I have friends. He talks, every person that comes on his feed, he'll follow them and send them a message immediately. And I'm like, you must have a lot of friends. That's not me. I can't do that. It's very easy to meet people and talk to almost anybody on social media, but it's very hard to get out there and talk to people in person. So I would say the way to combat it being a lost skill, try public speaking. I know a lot of schools have a public speaking course and they teach a public speaking course. And if they don't, you can learn public speaking online. YouTube University is my favorite thing to go to. So go online, learn how to public speak and practice it. And with you learning how to public speak, it'll help you get over the barriers of face-to-face communication. Because if you can speak in front of a crowd of people, you can talk to somebody one-on-one.
And you know, to add on to what you're saying about like combating it, another thing for me, I mean, just go up to someone, just say, hey, what's up? Maybe you might see him once a day or so, or you might not see him, but just saying, hey, what's up? You know, blah, blah, blah. Just doing that. And it kind of gets you over that, like, you know, they're human too, you know, like they're not just going to say, oh, you discuss, like they're not going to like roast you right there. Well, I mean, they might, but like, hopefully, you know, they don't do that. So,
Right. Yeah, you know, like with a lot of things you'll find in life, social media is the best and it's the worst at the very same time. You heard Jeremiah talk about folks that they go out and everybody ends up, and y'all seen it, right? Everybody's sitting at the table, everybody's on the phone. That's, you know, that could be the best because maybe they could be connecting with someone with the same interest, or they have a business idea, or they have a fashion idea. Or it could be, and this is probably a lot of it, it could be that, you know, a little bit of social anxiety, that, you know, we're in a crowd and we're expected to do something. And so, you know, I don't want to talk to anyone, so I'm just going to pretend that I'm scrolling through or sending a text or posting something on Instagram, just to make it look like I have something to do when I really might not have developed those in-person social skills that just says, put my phone down and go over and say, what's up? Did you see the game last night? Did you believe that shot or whatever it might be? A lot of times social media and our phones, I have 2 of them sitting up there, so I have real crutches, have become crutches, comfort crutches. It's just, you know, it's just nice to have it there with us, there in front of us. I don't see any phones in here. Are phones not allowed? Here? They are here? They got phones, okay.
They're locked in.
Oh, okay, beautiful, even more beautiful. But a lot of times, and we're all, it's not just you all. When I go places as an adult and folks are doing adult things, a lot of times it's not 3 or 4 of them, it's 80 or 90% of them are on their phones. And it can be for good or for bad. It all depends on what you want it to be used for. I say try to use it for good, connect, but then also connect with the folks internally. And speaking of your topic about public speaking, that is a challenging thing to do. There have been studies that have shown, this is going to sound crazy, so just ready for the craziness, that when people are surveyed about doing public speaking, they have said that they would rather die than do public speaking. Think about that. It is a real fear that folks have, but you can take that fear from one of our earlier questions and turn it into a challenge and a learning opportunity and just try it. Because the folks who are doing it haven't always done it. They've just gotten used to it. They've gotten accustomed to it. Most of your artists and entertainers have stage fright, but they've learned to come over it, and then they pick up that bag when they leave. Those are kinds of things that once you throw yourself into battle, once you lean into things, you can accomplish pretty much anything you want to do.
I want to touch on that again. That last part he said, where like the artists would go up there and they have stage fright and they'll perform, but after they're done, they'll go get their money and be happy. If you want to learn how to communicate with people and you want to know how to public speak or anything, give yourself a reward after it. So my mentor, Buster Brown, who taught me how to public speak, he would take us to events, throw us on stage and have us speak. But after every event, he would take us to get food. So I was like, oh, I'm speaking and I'm gonna get food after. Now, me personally, I don't believe I'm a big back, but my mom says I'm a big back. I do occasionally love a good Chipotle meal, Chick-fil-A meal. I love me some good food. I don't know who doesn't, but reward yourself after you do something hard. It'll make the hard things seem so much easier, because now it's not I gotta really get over this big fear, but now it's like, if I do this, I know I'll reward myself with whatever your thing is, whether that's playing a game for a few hours, whether that's going out to hang with friends, whether that's going out to eat like I do, whatever it is, reward yourself after doing something hard. Because then you'll be like, every time I do something hard, I'll get a reward. And it'll make it easier to get over that. Now, it is going to get expensive. So maybe find a mentor that's willing to spend that money on you. Hey, that's what made it easy for me. I didn't have to spend my money. But our next question is, I really want the audience to give me an answer on this question. Okay, before the panel answers, I want at least 2 people from the audience to answer this question. Okay. Why do small understandings in school often spiral into full-blown conflicts? And what does that say about how we communicate with each other? Why do small understandings in school often spiral into full-blown fights or brawls or whatever? And what does that say about how we communicate with each other?
Can you say it one more time, just a little bit louder this time? We got the microphone here. There we go.
People instigating and like we just let our friends talk into our heads, make us do things they shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get one more? Minimum, please.
I would say trigger words, like certain things somebody says can like trigger something that happened to somebody in the past. Or like they're sensitive about a certain thing and somebody says something that triggers them.
Yeah, Prescott can answer. See, I'm really looking forward to that.
So in my experience, I've seen a lot of students respond based on how they think their audience wants them to respond.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily about how they truly want to respond,
Mm-hmm.
but to put it in layman's terms, nobody wants to be punked.
Right.
Nobody wants to be made to look soft. Nobody wants to be made to have been taken advantage of, and they want their peers to accept them as tougher than Saul.
Mhm. Very true.
Anybody got anything to say to the principal? I think he's looking for a response.
I disagree. I'm just playing.
Respectfully.
What's your response to it? That Robert small understandings turn into a full-blown conflict.
It's like a sense of with pride, having a pride in you that you don't want to like back down from this guy who's trying to fight you. So that you're naturally trying to engage in him, and also a lack of sense of humility. When you're lacking humility, you just back down, you de-escalate the situation.
You know, I agree a lot with what Dr. Bracy said, you know, about, you know, they don't want to seem like the punk, they don't want to seem like the smaller guy. But I think also too of it is that some people just don't know how to respond in the fight. I had a friend in middle school who got into a fight the other day, one of the nicest guys you'll meet, but he ended up getting into a fight because it's the guy was trying to disrespect him, and admittedly, my friend he took it too far with it, and because he got lost, you know, he got lost in kind of what to do because he had been put in that situation. So I agree a lot with what Dr. Bracy was saying about how some people just don't quite know that, you know, that stopping point, and, you know, have to de-escalate situations instead they just continue to escalate it.
I agree. Dr. Bracy, don't want to be punked. I heard triggers. And there's also something else that comes into play here. You know, you all come to school, you get here by car or by bus, and you sit in the seat, or you're in the hall, or you're at the cafeteria. But no one really knows what went on in your life before you got in here. Nobody really knows. And sometimes folks just don't care. And it's that one trigger word or that one situation or that one push that brings up all of that trauma from other places and brings it back to this point, and the person just explodes. Sometimes it's all within the school. Sometimes it has nothing to do with the school. It has everything to do with everything else that's going on in that person's life, and it's just their turn to pop off.
My answer, earlier in high school when I was in like 9th grade, I was a very big instigator. Like I would sit in class and watch people get angry at each other and be like, I wouldn't let him talk to me like that. That's just me personally. I'm not letting nobody talk to me like that. Now, knowing I wouldn't fight nobody because I don't like fighting. I would sit there and instigate my tail off, but would not fight anybody because I just don't like fighting. But I had a bunch of people just start fights because I would instigate. I'll just sit there and be like, I wouldn't let them talk to me like that. It's crazy. There's no way in the world I'll let somebody talk to me like that. And I probably would let someone talk to me like that. But, you know, it's not important. I would instigate. I would say I was probably a main reason for a few of the fights at my school. But 5 or 10, something like that. But the way I am now, I'm a big religious guy. So I said this at the start. One of the fruits of the spirit is self-control. You cannot control other people. All you can control is yourself. That's all you can control. You can't control. I can't control what Walter does. If Walter wants to just go out of nowhere and hit me in the head, I have no control over that. That's just Walter being Walter or doing what Walter want to do. But for me as Jeremiah, if Walter hits me in the head, I have 2 responses. I can either hit him back, or I can sit here and be like, dang, Walter, I didn't think you were going to hit me, but I jacked up. Or I could just walk away. I could say that and walk away. But when you have self-control and being able to control yourself, that is the only person you're responsible for. So in a fight, I know a lot of people, their main excuse is he started it, she started it. You escalated it. No matter if he started it, she started it, she swung first, he swung first, you escalated it. You had the ability to walk away from it. You had the ability to de-escalate the situation. Now, is it common to walk away from a situation after somebody puts their hands on you? No. But when you walk away from that situation and after somebody hits you, you're like, I really could have hit him back because he did hit me, which is not right. And I have the right to self-defense within myself. But I don't know what that person was going through. And maybe him hitting me was an escape of his emotions.
So you won't be his punching bag? That's what you said?
No, I wouldn't be nobody's punching bag, but I wouldn't get into a fight. I just really don't like fighting. Yeah, I don't like fighting.
Yeah, I think what
I did. I just don't like fighting now. I really don't.
yeah, Jeremiah talked about self-control, and I guess you got to realize that. How many of you all watch NBA basketball? So it's kind of a Draymond Green effect. You know, he what's he out there doing? He's playing basketball, or he's out there trying to figure out, hey,
He's out there hitting people. He's not
to
playing
get some
basketball.
people's heads. That's what he's doing. He's instigating. He's pushing boundaries. He's trying to take you off your game. What are you going to do if I push you a little harder, push you a little bit more? So you gotta be careful about those folks. They don't really care about you. They're just trying to take you off your game. They may see you going this way, and they don't feel they're going that way. So instead of trying to learn from you, they're going to push you so that you can fall and come and join them. Be careful of those folks.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna answer to that. Okay, let me say this so y'all don't think I'm a big punk, please. I don't like to fight because I have too much to lose, right? When you see a lot of people and they're on the upward, like they're going up, they're building something, they're building a brand, they're building their name, they're building a business, they're building whatever. It takes years to build a positive reputation. It takes years. And it takes 1 second to destroy your whole reputation. And now you are fighting. You have to fight out of the negative to get back positive, firstly. And then after you fight out of the negative to get positive, you have to rebuild the trust of every single person that you broke trust with to now start going back up positive. So my main reason for not fighting is because I just frankly believe I have too much to lose. And if I start fighting out of nowhere and I go from the kid who is on a good track to now the kid who likes to fight anybody that touches him the wrong way, now they're like, what the heck is wrong with this kid? What switched? When you get to a point of where you're like, I respect myself too much and I have too much to lose, even if you don't have a big business, even if you don't have something you're building, if you build a sense of, I have too much to lose to even waste my time on something that's going to make me look bad, you won't fight nobody. It's not worth it. So we are getting close to our time of being over. So I want to thank you all for coming out of class. Thank the teachers for allowing you guys to come out of class and being able to be the audience for our podcast. I appreciate every single one of you guys for sitting here for an hour listening to us. Thank you guys for the ones that added something to the conversation. I want to thank the panelists for being here again. We will be back. So Youthful Conversations will be back April 2nd. It's going to be, I think from what we talked about, a little bit bigger than this. So it's going to be a lot more students. I do have some candy that we're going to give out. The candy does have my sticker, Useful Conversation sticker up there, and with my Instagram, so you can check us out on Instagram at Jeremiah Jet. On there, we post clips of the podcast and everything like that. And you can check us out on YouTube at Youthful Conversations to view the full length podcast, about an hour. I want to thank Southwest for hosting us and allowing us to be here. And then I want to thank the High Point School Partnerships for allowing us to build partnerships within Guilford County Schools and High Point. And then I want to thank my mom for being my producer and producing my episode and making sure that everything sounds good, even though she was getting on my nerves before it started. And then I want to thank Dr. Bracy and then Assistant Principal, or was it Vice Principal? Assistant Principal, Mr. Blair, for communicating with me and making sure that we're able to have a successful episode at Southwest High School. Again, thank you all for being here. Thank my panelists, and I hope you all enjoyed our episode. Hope you took something away. Hope you're taking some valuable information on how to just improve your life in general. And we'll be back April 2nd. Thank you all.